Hello and welcome to the Back Nine Report. My name is Carlos Torres, along with Altvater. We check in on the world of golf to bring you the latest news, insights, analysis, interviews, recaps, previews. Hey, we cover anything and everything golf. In other words, if it happened in golf, we have it for you. Fred, hi, how are you today?
Hey, Carlos, I'm great, but I'm a little bit sad actually. The news was out that we want to wish or give our deepest condolences to the families of the University of Southwest golf team members that were killed and injured in a crash yesterday, returning home to New Mexico from a golf tournament in Texas. Both men's and women's golf teams were in the van that was struck by a pickup truck that went over the center line and hit the team van head on. It was a terrible crash. The van caught on fire, and it's awful. I think 6 of the team members were killed, and plus the 2 guys that were in the pickup truck. And we hate to hear stuff like that. That's just awful. I want to give our condolences to that. And second, Carlos, I just want to urge our listeners to click on ohiogolfjournal.com and register for the 3-day, 2 nights at historic Firestone Country Club in Akron. 2 players will enjoy a round on each of the 3 courses at Firestone. The historic South course has hosted all the great PGA Tour tournaments over the years, the North course, the Fazio course, and then just getting to stay on property in the lodges there and the condos. It's fantastic. The food on site is outstanding. So be sure and click on to Ohio Golf Journal, Indiana Golf Journal, or Michigan Golf Journal, any one of those 3. The register button is right there. Just click on it and get your name in for that. Carlos, I'll throw it back to you.
And once again, it's not those 2 players not going to be Fred and me, so don't worry about it. It's not
I'll be happy to go with you, but yeah.
Yeah, we could go, and we can make it a foursome at some point. You'll make easy work out of the both of us anyway. But today we're going to be talking about Henrik Stenson because he was announced as the European Ryder Cup captain for 2023. Becoming in the way the first Swede to hold a position in Ryder Cup history. And that's significant. I mean, he will lead the team in Rome and is immediately tasked with bouncing back from Europe's heaviest defeat at Whistling Straits, where the youngest United States team in history demolished Europe 19-9. So Luke Donald and Henrik Stenson had been the leading candidates for the position, with Robert Carlson and Paul Lawrie also considered. Stenson's position was initially brought into question, and we talked about this, by his rumored involvement with the Saudi-backed Super League, but it would seem he has given sufficient assurances to the Ryder Cup committee that he's not going there, so they make him up. Now, that committee is made up of the last 3 European captains, Darren Clarke, Thomas Bjorn, and Patty Harrington, plus also David Howell, which is the chairman of the DP World Tours Tournament Committee, and the tour's chief executive, Keith Pelly. That committee was reported to fear embarrassment should a Ryder Cup captain take up Saudi approaches to Stenson. So his announcement all but confirms basically that his commitment to the PGA and the DP World Tour in the future. Stenson was the vice captain to Patty Harrington at Whistling Straits, so he saw firsthand the demolishing of his team back there. So he knows firsthand what he's up to, and he possesses all the ingredients. I mean, to make a great Ryder Cup captain with the perfect balance. He's intelligent, he's chic, authoritarian, and emotion as well, which has ultimately earned him the nickname of Iceman over the years. He made his Ryder Cup debut at K Club in 2006, where he held the winning putt in a dominant 18.5 to 9.5 victory. So Fred, he would then go on to make 5 appearances in total for Team Europe and featured on 3 winning teams with a record of 10-7-2. So, as much success and glory that he has enjoyed in the Ryder Cup, he has success all around the world. So how about this pickup by the European Ryder Cup team of Henrik Stenson as their captain?
Yeah, you mentioned the people that are on that committee for the Europeans to pick that captain. And I think Stenson was their choice all along. He's the guy that they wanted. Luke Donald was maybe the fallback guy next in line there. But Stenson, I think he's the obvious choice. He's been on 5 Ryder Cup teams. He's got a great record. He's been there, done that. And I think most importantly, I really think the other European tour players really like Henrik. He's got a tremendous sense of humor. He's a great, all the players I think really get along with him well. And most importantly, he's won a major. He's won a players championship, and a little known fact is that he's had 13 top 10s in major championships. I think in like 48 starts or something like that in majors. And he's had, including a runner up, he was third 4 times, and he finished inside the top 5 9 times in majors. So he's been right there. He just won the one, but he's been right there several times. And throw in the Players Championship win. I mean, that's big stuff. I mean, he's had a great career. I think he's had 208 starts, and he's made he's made like 48 top 10s or something like that in those 206 starts. Won $32 million on the PGA Tour. So he's been a really good player for a long time, and I think he's got the respect of the other European players. So I think it's a really good choice. He's been an integral part of the European winning formula for really about 16 years, being on 5 Ryder Cup teams and then also being assistant captain for Harrington. That didn't go so well, but I think they learned a lot from that, Carlos. We've talked about that in the past, how that Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits played out, and the European team looked really old. And so I really think that he's going to be tasked with getting some of these young players, some of this young talent that we've been talking about, to move up and get into the top 50 in the world, to get into the top 25, so that he can pick them for the Ryder Cup team. Now, Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, they're going to be key components of that Ryder Cup team that's going to be playing in Italy in 2023. But I think just like Steve Stricker did last year for the American team, I think Stenson's going to be forced to dump a few familiar European names, to overlook them and pick some of these younger guys to add a little vim and vigor to that European team. So, you got some other tried and true names. You got Tyrrell Hatton, Paul Casey, Shane Lowry. I imagine Lowry will still be playing well in another 2 years. Tommy Fleetwood, of course. Sergio, I think he might be getting to the end of his days. So I really think that they're looking for a youth movement. I think we're going to see a lot. I bet we see 4 or 5 new names on that European tour, on that European Ryder Cup team in 2023. Carlos, what do you think?
I'm not sure that they will actually go younger, right? Because that's not been their MO. They are just trying to get somebody really that fits in, whether they are young or veteran players. That remains to be seen. But we do know that players like Victor Hovland, like you mentioned, Matt Fitzpatrick, who's played before, they are the younger people that are coming up. And for certain, Jon Rahm, Tommy Fleetwood should be in there if he plays a little better. At least he's still on that list so far. They have also, like you mentioned, Tyrrell Hatton, Bernd Wiesberger. There's plenty of players that they can go to.
McIntyre, Higo, the Hoshguards. There's some really good young players. We've been talking about this. The Europeans have some really good young players right on the verge of playing really well.
They do, and I have to agree. If they show enough from now until next year, when the Ryder Cup is, I bet they will be selected, or they will make it on their own. But definitely, that's something that we have to see. We now will start seeing with Henrik, who has been there 5 times and won as a vice captain, has the experience. How are they going to mold this? Because it's a joint effort by that committee as well, that they do, the Europeans, with the previous Ryder Cup captains, to pick their team, at least the captain's picks, right? So it should be the younger guys, because those are the up and coming. Now, should they have enough points or be close to, to show that to them, because for what we have seen, they prefer to go with experience rather than that. But definitely that didn't work this last time. So will they change the recipe? Maybe with other experienced players, but not as, let's go with Lee Westwood or the older guys. What about Ian Poulter? He's going up in age, but he's been a stalwart all these years as well. So like you mentioned, Sergio Garcia, maybe he has just one more to go. But definitely the core is there. It has to be John Ram, Roy McIlroy, Victor Hovland, Matt Fitzpatrick. That should be their core to be there. Maybe Tommy Fleetwood and Tyrrell Hatton will be as well. But yeah, the young guys will be in the mix, but this is something that definitely, to me, Henrik is a great pick. Whether it would have been him or Luke Donald, I think with both are very respected. Luke was the odds-on favorite, but I guess that his commitment, Stenson's commitment, that he must have made some assurances that he was not going to, at least until the Ryder Cup is done, join the Premier Golf League. So that had to be something really in it for him to commit this next 2 years. So definitely something to look for. I'm intrigued to see what would be the path they follow picking up the team.
We poo-poo the vice captains or the assistant captains a lot of times, but they really are kind of the intermediary between the captain and the players. I mean, they're assigned a certain group of players and they're watching them all the time to report back to captain. So you got a Luke Donald, you got a Lee Westwood, you got maybe a Sergio, you got maybe an Ian Poulter that are looking to be future Ryder Cup captains that could be those vice captains, fill those vice captains roles and become very important to Henrik Stenson, evaluating talent and making those picks that he's got to make to fill out that team. So that's kind of key too, to see who he chooses as vice captains. I'm kind of curious to see who he gets involved in that as well. So Carlos, I don't know, we're, probably about 18 months away from another Ryder Cup, and we're already talking about it. Now we've got two captains. We've got Zach Johnson. We got Henrik Stenson. Should be great. I mean, these guys have both found success. They've both been played well all around the world in Ryder Cup and all other kinds of competitions. So I think it's going to be interesting. And the Ryder Cup, as always, should be great, even though it's in Rome, Italy.
Yeah, and how they're going to set up that course, of course, to try to favor the Europeans as they always do. That's going to be also
tight, very tight,
important on what they're going to do. So, but one final thing to mention, we have been talking about this, about the possibility of Henrik Stenson being, since we haven't heard or seen much about him, would have been him one of those players that would join the Premier Golf League. But apparently his loyalty to the European, well, now DP World Tour, is significant, because you might remember he lost an estimated $11 million in a fraud scandal more than a decade ago, after Alan Stanford's property investment scheme was exposed as a sham. Of course, Stanford was convicted in 2012 and is currently serving 110 years, I think it is, federal prison service.
He's gonna be an old guy when he gets out.
If he gets out. he will get out, I think, just on a cuffing or something like that. But anyway, it must have been a very tough decision for the Iceman, because reportedly he had a $30 million offered, if his $30 million offer was accurate. So, of course, he recouped his financial loss when he won the $10 million FedEx Cup in 2013, but the financial scars, I can imagine, left by that episode have not been fully healed. So we'll see what happens now. That's something definitely he's very proud. When he talked about being appointed the Ryder Cup captain, he didn't hold back his admiration for the history of the tournament, which really reflected up on him and the decision, how proud and how willing he is to take on this job and be the European Ryder Cup captain.
Yep, looking forward to it, Carlos. I think they made a good choice, and I'm glad to see that. I know it had to be a tough decision for him, whether to take some guaranteed money or continue to play, because he's in his 40s. It's still, he's in that age where it's tough to compete with these younger guys. So he's still doing it though. He's hanging in there, and I'm just glad. I'm glad he's doing it because I think it'll make for a very interesting Ryder Cup.
It should be, and especially with the injuries that he's had in the recent years. I mean, ever after he won that classic British Open at Royal Troon, that duel with Phil Mickelson, I mean, that still remain on the minds of everyone. But definitely something really, really tough, I guess. But hey, it worked out, and we have two great captains. Looking forward to that Ryder Cup. Unless it's just going to be next year. Would have thought it was this year, but no. Next year we still have a year and a half to go. But anyway, any final words before we close it?
Nope, I'm all good. Like I say, we feel bad for the families from the University of Southwest, and that's a tough pill to swallow right there. And so we wish them all the best.
Our deepest condolences, and all our prayers go to their families there. But anyway, thank you for joining us. It's always our pleasure to bring you the latest in the world of golf news and information. Subscribe to our channel. Right down there on the description, you'll see the link to join and subscribe. Thank you for joining us.